Hello, friends, and welcome into NBA Now. I am Tom Down. That's Jimmy Crowther. Jimmy, NBA free agency almost here.
Yep.
So let's take a look at what's going on around the NBA. Remember, there's no tampering, but there's totally tampering going on. One thing that doesn't count as tampering, but is more on the news side, Kevin Durant has officially opted out of his $31.5 million player option, which, frankly, isn't a surprise at all.
No, I mean, the news, quote-unquote, broke today, but we knew this was going to happen.
News was made officially official.
Right, so he opts out of the $31.5 million. Doesn't mean he can't go back, still technically can. And look, the teams that are interested in him are still going to offer a max contract, the Warriors included. So just because he's opting out, just because he has a torn Achilles, doesn't mean, number one, a return is impossible, and number two, anybody's going to shy away from offering a top 2 player in the league a max contract.
And the Warriors have quite a few notable free agents coming up this offseason. Of course, Kevin Durant has already opted out. Klay Thompson, he'll hit the, I'll put open market in quotes here. This is pretty simple. Like if you're Golden State, and we'll get more into Klay Thompson later, but offer a max contract, done.
Yeah. And then, of course, DeMarcus Cousins, whose free agency is so up in the air. We'll talk about him as well a little bit later here. But Kevon Looney and Jordan Bell, I'd argue that Looney means more to the team than DeMarcus Cousins does anyway. So
it's fair.
Maybe even Jordan Bell. I mean, so that's 5 very notable free agents hitting the market for the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, he is also
I feel like he's a package deal with Durant somewhere, though.
Yeah, I think you're right. Buddy there.
All right, so once Durant hits the open market, there's been some buzz that maybe he takes the LeBron style, doesn't actually meet with teams, just decides on his future with his inner circle. Here are some teams to watch out for. Of course, both LA teams, both New York teams, because Brooklyn does kind of, they're not named New York, and then the Golden State Warriors, of course, still too.
Yeah, I mean, I think these have been the teams that everybody expected the entire time anyway. And I'm almost at a point where I want to take the Lakers out of this running. I don't think he will seriously consider the Lakers in any way, shape, or form. And I hope he does kind of take the LeBron James route of not really meeting with teams and just, talking about it. Because, look, you know what teams are going to offer you.
Exactly.
You know what teams have to offer you in terms of a roster. You don't have to go in there and hear a pitch to you that, hey,
and cry with Steve Ballmer, for example.
Yeah, and learn a big lesson. So
blast from the past, baby.
We'll see where he ends up, but these are the 5 teams that we've heard him most connected to entering free agency.
All right, folks, so where will Kevin Durant sign this summer? Let us know in the comment section. I still think one of those New York teams make the most sense. Does he want to join with Kyrie, or does he want to be the guy in New York with the Knicks?
I'm leaning Knicks right now. I do think Kyrie ends up going to Brooklyn, but I'm going to lean Knicks. I think that's where Kevin Durant ends up. I still won't be shocked if he goes back to the Warriors for a 1+1 maybe kind of deal.
Let's move then to the Knicks here. They are expected to get meetings with Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant, which doesn't mean they're going to sign him, but that they'll get a, I guess, meeting in quote with Durant maybe doing the I'm not going to take a full-on meeting, but I'll chat with you type deal.
Yeah, and they definitely have a shot at KD, like we just said. Like they are my favorite. They're the leader in the clubhouse, in my opinion, for Kevin Durant. But Kawhi Leonard, that's a long shot, and he knows it, and they know it. But the fact that he's at least granting them a meeting has to mean something. Like he's at least willing to listen to them. Again, Kawhi giving them this, I don't see it happening. I think the return to Toronto is the thing he's considering the most. And if he does leave, I think it's still the Clippers. But he'll meet with New York, and then New York will move on to their other free agents that they're kind of.
And if I were an NBA free agent of the Kawhi caliber, that's super, or I guess just max contract because he's not under contract, can't be able to max, whatever, I would take all the meetings I could.
Yeah.
Take me out to a nice steak dinner.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. But, if you have to consider, let's say it comes down to Kawhi or KD. Let's say for some reason both of them say, hey, I want to sign. Then you got to figure out, I guess you can technically sign both, right?
Yeah, like if you're the Knicks, you could. You have 2 max contract spots.
Right. So,
but the Nets too, I guess.
But does it really make sense? You compare the numbers, and they're pretty darn similar, but you take into account that Kawhi's younger and KD's got the torn Achilles.
Exactly. If it wasn't for the injury, I think it'd be a little bit more of a debate, but you're paying 4 years for both of these players, but you're only getting 3 with Durant.
Exactly.
So if you're like the Nets and you say, okay, in theory, you get Kyrie Irving, and then you have your choice of Kawhi and Kevin, I think you're going to end up going with Kawhi over Durant. If you have your choice, of course, they might not have their choice, because the Raptors, I still think, are the favorites to bring back Kawhi.
I do too, and like we said, if there is a team that he's looking at outside the Raptors, it's the Clippers. I think it is basically a 60% he re-signs with the Raptors, 35% he signs with the Clippers, and then that 5% is like a mix between the Lakers and the Knicks. I don't think either of those two teams have a legit shot.
Didn't put the Mavs on there.
No, because it was shot. It was officially shot down today. Kawhi Leonard is not meeting with the Mavericks. Chris Sheridan pulled that out of nowhere.
Jimmy in shambles over here, deep down. You just can't tell.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tom.
All right, well, back to the Knicks here. Will they land any major free agents? First question, does Julius Randle count as a major free agent?
Major free agents are like the top 5 guys.
Oh, well then,
okay. And
maybe.
It's a maybe in Kevin Durant. That's really a maybe for all of them. There's a chance where they end up with 2 of the top 5 guys. There's a chance where they end up with none of the top 15 guys.
Someone's going to be left out in the cold.
And it could be
the Clippers, the Knicks, the Mavs. Somebody's not getting one of those top 5 guys or top 6 guys.
I think they get one.
Okay.
I still think it's Kevin Durant, but I'm not going to be shocked if they don't end up with any of them.
All right, different type of question here for you guys. What's your favorite food? Let us know in the comment section. We'll give some shout-outs here in a second. But, Jimmy, what's your go-to food? Salad?
Sushi. No.
Good.
I hate salad.
That's rabbit food.
Don't like salad. But sushi, love sushi. Anything Asian, basically. That's all my favorite food. All that kind of stuff. So, what about you?
I am a peanut butter man through and through.
Okay.
I'll put that on anything. Have you ever had peanut butter with ice cream?
I've had peanut butter ice cream.
Now, you take like just plain vanilla ice cream and just toss some peanut butter in there.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Delicious. Absolutely
I do love peanut butter. I love ice cream, so who knows?
I guess you should try it. All right, some shout-outs here. JJ and Official Miza both say tacos. Gherkin says noodles. Chris says pizza. The Bucket Gaming and Extreme Gamer, I'm not reading that off because it got blocked. Grimo says enchiladas. Zach says fried chicken.
Laker Nation
wings,
for life.
Bacon in there. Laker Nation for life with a super chat says grilled butter salmon. I do love salmon, by the way. Are you a fish fan?
I like fish. I don't like salmon, though.
Really?
Yeah,
because salmon's like the least fishy fish out there.
See, I know. Maybe that's why I don't like it, because I expect the fish taste and I don't get it as much. I don't know. I love tuna.
Trap House says lasagna. Lost Nick says pork chops. I got some crab there. Keep them coming. We appreciate them all. In the meantime there, let's move to Carmelo Anthony, Jimmy, who apparently has some interest in rejoining the New York Knicks.
Oh, my goodness. Now,
let's go.
It's officially not happening because Carmelo wants to go back to New York. He said he'd love to finish out his career, which I thought was already finished, in New York. But the Knicks have no interest in bringing him back. So that's kind of, it's usually the opposite way around. It's usually like, this team is chasing this player. No, this player is chasing this team, and they don't want him.
This is the ultimate player who nobody once was like, yeah, I'll play for this team because I want that paycheck and a chance to play again.
Yeah. It could very well be like Isaiah Thomas this summer. Probably wants to go back to Boston, and I don't think
or Allen Iverson at the end, which is basically what Carmelo Anthony is.
Grizzlies legend, Allen Iverson.
Hey, Melo back to Denver. Who says no? With Allen Iverson. Package deal.
Denver.
But here, seriously, though, why wouldn't you want Melo? He's a career 24 points per game player, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot pretty well from 3. Why wouldn't you want him?
I'll tell you why I don't want him. I am. He's trash. The dude, hey, I'll take word from my man, Stephen A. Smith. He's a bona fide scrub. That is what Carmelo Anthony is. I don't care how many shots you make in an empty gym at Lifetime Fitness. I can make shots in an empty gym at Lifetime Fitness.
Sir, that is future Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony. Put some respect on his name.
Great. He's washed up. He's too chubby to play. He's inconsistent. He averaged 0.7 assists this past season, where he played 10 games with the Houston Rockets. Probably caused him to lose more than he helped them win those 10 games that he was there. And then they cut him because he's trash, a bum. That's what he is. And I'm taking the under. He's playing 0 games in 2019-2020.
He'll play 7 games, all of them in a pickup rec basketball league.
Okay, that's fair.
The reason he's not going to sign in all likelihood is because Melo's game does not lend itself to being a bottom of the bench guy. Like he's a volume scorer. That doesn't matter when your efficiency drops at that level and you're not a great defender and you're not necessarily the greatest teammate either.
Yeah, I think he could be really good for the Beijing Ducks, who come and play a couple games over in the preseason.
You sure it's the Ducks?
Yeah, because they played in Dallas.
Okay.
It was the Beijing Ducks. They wear these light powder blue uniforms. Carmelo looked great in that uniform next season.
Let's move then to DeMarcus Cousins. And the New York Knicks apparently have some interest in him, which I actually kind of find weird because they have a young, promising center in Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, I don't understand this. I think this is kind of like some insurance for their fans and for themselves, where it's like, well, hey, if we miss out on KD, we miss out on Kyrie, we miss out on Jimmy Butler, we miss out on Kawhi Leonard, name your big name free agent. It doesn't matter because we're going to get DeMarcus Cousins, and that was our guy from the start, so we're okay with it. Like, I think that's why this report leaked out.
Alternative theory here.
Okay.
The Lakers as well, but the Knicks right now are the leverage team from the agent.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We could go to one of these two teams. They got money to spend, and they got like nobody else on the roster.
That is very realistic. I actually really like that idea. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah. Boogie was not the same guy last year, coming off the injury and missing more time with injuries there. What kind of contract can he expect to get on the open market?
It is the biggest mystery this summer because he could get the mid-level exception. He could. Some team could overpay when they strike out on all their guys, and I could see him getting up to $18 million next season for a couple of years. This past season, 30 games, 16 points per game is fine. Like, all these numbers are fine. It's not what you expect out of Sacramento Kings bully your way through DeMarcus Cousins.
So here's what you put up with a potential lineup with Boogie, also with Kevin Durant if you're able to sign him as well. It's not that bad.
This is, of course, in 2 years.
Yeah.
So this next season, KD will sit out, and then, maybe 2 years from now, they go out and get KD and maybe even replace a guy like Dennis Smith Jr. in the starting lineup with a new point guard that they could draft. And you have a good young core. You let Barrett and Knox and DSJ kind of develop, and DeMarcus Cousins get back to his fully healthy self for this next year with no real pressure on him to succeed. And this isn't bad for New York in a couple years, but this next year it's pretty disappointing if you have to go watch a 75% DeMarcus Cousins and you have to look at Kevin Durant on the bench every single game.
All right, so where will DeMarcus Cousins, a.k.a. Boogie, play next year? Let us know in the comments section. Jimmy, what's your prediction?
This is why I threw this question up here, because I want to know from our audience, because I don't even have a guess. If I had to guess, the only team I've heard linked to him, it has been the Knicks, So
I still think the two teams that make the most sense that actually don't make sense at the same time, Schrodinger's Boogie here, the Pelicans and the Kings. Go back to his old teams and be the new center.
I think the Pelicans would have made more sense had they not drafted Jackson Hayes.
But Hayes needs like 2 years of development. Let's be real here.
Boogie probably needs 2 years to get back to 100%.
So that's fair. That's fair. Now let's talk about Jimmy Butler. One of the big rumors out there right now is that the Houston Rockets are trying to sign and trade for Jimmy Butler. Now remember, Butler, of course, is one of the top two-way players in the NBA, but it has to be a sign and trade because Houston does not have the cap flexibility at all to just outright add him in free agency.
Yeah, they have absolutely no cap space. So I've been thinking about potential trades for Jimmy Butler here and there, trying to figure out what can happen. There was a report earlier today that came out that the Rockets are looking to ship Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, and Clint Capella all in separate deals potentially, and this is something that you came up with here, Tom.
So the rumored sign and trade kind of looks like this. Of course, Houston gets Jimmy Butler. The Rockets then need to move two of the following three players, Eric Gordon, Clint Capella, and PJ Tucker. So for this scenario, we'll allow them to keep PJ Tucker. We'll send Eric Gordon to Philadelphia. This makes the money work from the Houston side and from the 76ers side as well here. And then that to-be-determined third team gets Clint Capella and sends a first-round pick to Philadelphia. Philadelphia gets something in exchange for losing Jimmy Butler. Rockets, of course, get Butler, and that third team sends a first for Clint Capella, gets their new starting center.
If Philadelphia gets this and they run a lineup of Ben Simmons, Eric Gordon, you re-sign Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, and then whoever else you want to throw in there, maybe Matisse Thybulle or bring back JJ Redick. I actually really like that for Philly.
Still I think, top 4 seed in the East.
I would agree.
And Gordon gives them some shooting and defense that they so badly need.
Gordon is an elite three-point shooter. Just incredible. But some team could get really lucky and just pick up Clint Capella for basically nothing. The dude is not just a throw-in piece. He's a good anchor your defense type center.
Exactly. And Capella there, I think, is the one who makes the most sense to actually get a first-round pick back. Like, his contract is not that bad. It's actually, I think, fairly neutral. It's not like a negative asset like, say, an Andrew Wiggins type contract is.
Hey.
I think you know it is. I think that the Kings, the Celtics, and Hawks, all three teams that could use a long-term center, no disrespect to Bruno Fernando and Robert Williams and I guess whatever the Kings' backup center is because Willie Cauley-Stein's gone there.
Costa Kufos.
Yeah, Costa Kufos, that's right. I think those three teams to me jump out as the obvious, hey, this can be our young center and maybe attach like a top 10 protection on it.
Yeah, I actually really like all three of these. Now, you mentioned the Kings and the Celtics originally, and then I kind of threw the Hawks in there because, look, the Hawks, if you all of a sudden add Capella in alongside John Collins in your front court, Call me crazy.
Pretty good.
2-3 years. That's a team that can sneak into the playoffs in Atlanta in the Eastern Conference with Hunter, Reddish, Trae Young, Herter, Collins. You get a CAPELA, and then you get one more draft pick next season potentially. And I like it a lot for Atlanta, but that's not really what the focus is here with this whole Jimmy Butler ordeal.
It's for Houston. So potential lineup with them, the big three, of course, CP3, James Harden, Jimmy Butler. They still get to keep PJ Tucker for defense. Jimmy Butler, a huge boost to their defensive side. And then I guess Nene is their center, at least for now.
Yeah.
Maybe they find a vet min guy.
I think a guy like DeAndre Jordan would actually be really interesting. I think because he is from the Houston area as well. And he's buddies with Jimmy Butler. Would not be surprised if they go get him. That he says, hey, I'll play for the mid-level. I'll even play for the minimum at this point because he's not the same.
That's a fun squad right there.
It's really good. It's actually kind of scary if you're an Eastern Conference team fan like myself. But PJ Tucker and Jimmy Butler holding down your defense, that's pretty stout. And then the only thing you got to worry about is
more regression from CP3.
And can you imagine a locker room if one of those guys misses a last-second shot and how they
I'm sure it won't be an issue at all. All right, folks, so where should Jimmy Butler sign? Not where will he sign, but where should he sign?
I think it should be Philadelphia. Okay. I think he should stay there, take the 5 years. You know, you'll be 34 in 5 years. You're not going to get another big contract like that. Take the money. Take the team that, you know, even if Houston does get Jimmy Butler, like Philadelphia with Jimmy Butler has a better chance to get to an Eastern Conference Finals than Houston does because of the Western Conference. So I'm going to say Philly.
I see a couple of Lakers comments flowing in, as long as one who says China, which I think is pretty funny. All right, let's go to Klay Thompson here. The Warriors have not yet told Thompson he'll get a max, or they haven't communicated that yet for some reason. They're still expected to, but if it doesn't happen, that like, I don't know, 4 or 5%, whatever that number actually is, are the Clippers a threat?
Yes, the Clippers are a threat, but it's a huge if. I mean, they're going to throw him a max contract. He is a franchise cornerstone there. You know, he'll never be the top guy in Golden State, but he'll always be the guy that's been there since the beginning. He's helped them win so many championships, and he's done so much for the community and everything. Klay Thompson is great in Golden State. If they don't offer him a max contract, sell the Warriors because that would just be terrible. Like, I don't know what they would be thinking.
Well, I think they have to bring back Klay. Like, I know there's the injury, but there's no reason to risk insulting Klay and risk losing him.
Yeah, I mean, the rumor here is that if they don't offer it to him at 5:01 p.m. on June 30th, then he's gonna look elsewhere. You know, it's not that he will sign elsewhere, but he'll at least listen. And if I'm the Warriors,
why risk it?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna let him go get wooed by anybody. Like,
exactly.
You know you want to be here. We know that we want you here.
Maybe don't upset your second best player and one of the best shooting guards in all of the NBA.
Especially when you're about to lose, potentially, Kevin Durant.
Yeah. All right, one of the free agents who could switch teams, though, that is Kemba Walker of the Hornets. The Mavs and recently the Boston Celtics have emerged as the top threats. Remember, no tampering.
No tampering, of course. That would never happen here in the NBA. Both teams have room to offer him a max contract. Of course, the Hornets can offer him a super max, but then that cripples them completely from making any kind of moves, from becoming anything more than a 7 to 8 seed. You already have, the two best players on the Mavs and the two best players on the Celtics are exponentially better than anything behind Kemba Walker and Charlotte right now. And I think both teams make a lot of sense. Kemba is an East Coast guy from New York, went to UConn, plays in Charlotte. Boston makes a lot of sense as a, quote, stealth shooter. Of course, not so stealthy anymore. And the Mavs have been after him for as long as we can remember at this point. And, hey, put him next to Kristaps Porzingis. Put him next to Luka Doncic. He can play off the ball. He did it a lot in Charlotte. I think it's very curious the fact that Boston went one day from being, they're sneaking in as a shooter, to all of a sudden, they're right up there with the Mavs.
I kind of feel, though, that like the second you're named as a sneaky shooter, you're just a shooter. Yeah, I mean, once you're put out there, it's pretty obvious. So, look, Kemba's a special, special talent. I'm excited to see where he goes. I want to see him win next season. All right, so Kemba coming off a 25.6 point per game season there. What teams do you think make the most sense? Of course, you mentioned Boston, Dallas. Anyone else that jumps out to you? I mean, you got to consider Charlotte, or not Charlotte, excuse me. Of course, you do have to consider Charlotte, but you also have to consider the Los Angeles Lakers because they do want a third star. They're going to swing big. I just don't think Kemba's going to sit around and wait for the Lakers to miss out on their top guys to then go ahead and chase him. So I think it's going to come down to Charlotte, Dallas, and Boston. And I've stuck with this entire time that if he leaves Charlotte, I truly believe Dallas is the most viable option. I don't love the fit in Boston because
he still has to carry the team. He still has to be the guy. And is Boston with Kemba and no Al Horford, is that as good as Boston with Kyrie Irving plus Al Horford? I say no. So go to Dallas, try to make something special happen there. Of course, I'm a little biased, but that's okay. We won't mention that.
All right, so where should Kemba Walker sign? Let us know in the comment section here. Type D for Dallas, B for Boston, C for Charlotte. I guess if you want to also do the Lakers, you can type L. You can type N for Knicks as well. I assume you're typing in D for Dallas here, Jimmy?
That's not me. I'm definitely not typing that into the live chat right now whatsoever. But yes, I'm typing in Dallas, but that is my somewhat biased opinion. I want to hear from you where you think Kemba should sign, because you have no horse in the race here.
I get the allure of Boston, but I think I'm still going to go with Dallas, where I think that if you go join up with Luka and you join up with Kristaps, that actually gives you the best overall roster. Like in terms of, and I love Tatum, I love Jaylen Brown long term, but I think Dallas is a more alluring option with their overall roster quality, and maybe they can somehow form that pipe dream too of adding Al Horford too somehow.
Make me blush, Tom. But I agree.
All right, folks, so what is your favorite NBA team? Jimmy, I know you are a Dallas fan there.
Yes, I am. Huge Dallas Maverick fan. Grew up in Dallas. First ever basketball game was the Dallas Mavericks versus Detroit Pistons, and haven't looked back since.
All right, I am not really a fan of any one NBA team. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. We'll give you guys some shout-outs here in a second. I see some Dallas, Lakers, Celtics. Someone typed in Big Baller Brand, which I appreciate. That's always fun. You can't say Jello in the comment section. I go with whatever team I'm best at right now in NBA 2K, and that's still the Denver Nuggets at the moment.